Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a while since the last update, of course. So, yeah, I seem to say that every time, but there's just a lot going on right now with everything, and just part of normal life stuff and having to take care of everything while building a car at the same time. So, just an example of something like that is basically what's going on with my garage. So here, if you check this out, let's see. Oh, almost dropped the camera. So you see, my garage looks like a used furniture store. Basically, we did a we just remodeled the house and redecorated and got new furniture and just did stuff like that. So it's just kind of crazy. But I have all this furniture out in the garage waiting for some people to pick it up, and we have to take some to some people and all that, and then I'll have access to my car again. So I can't wait because I'm kind of jonesing to work on it and all that. I've been doing some work on the back, of course. I'm continuing to work back there, but I'm having to wait, or not really wait anymore, but I was waiting on some steel and supplies to build the gantry system that I am going to build on the ceiling up here. So kind of like right next to where my garage door opener is, up on the ceiling, there's going to be a bar that goes all the way across, and from there I will hang down a set of lasers that will mark the center line of the car, again just like the gantry did in the previous videos. So but first I have to get all this stuff out and then I can get back on to that. So I just wanted to give you guys just a quick update on where things are at. I wish I could get over there and show you the back, but I've done a lot of work to the back and top of the car, and it's getting pretty close to being finished. I have more sanding to do, of course, and I don't really want to do any more until I get that center line set up, so that I can make sure everything's going to be symmetrical as close as possible. So so I won't really do any more of that until that's all set up. But I figure in the meantime that I could go over probably one of the most common questions that I get asked, and that is about the foam. So I have a piece of foam right there, and I actually have some over here too. So let's see, I'm gonna stop it 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to put the camera on a tripod so that I had both my hands available to show you the foam stuff. So the most common question that I get asked on all my videos and in emails and just whatever is usually about the foam and how I got it and what kind of foam is it and all this stuff. So and I think a lot of people are going back to the early videos. They're watching the videos, and then they're seeing that they can do this, and then they go back to the early videos to look and see how I do all the foam stuff. But I don't really have a lot of I don't really show a lot of the technique stuff with the foam or anything about the foam, really. I just kind of show up with it, and they're kind of like silent videos. So I just want to go in more detail about that. I've been meaning to do this for a long time, and I want to really get to some of the more of the kind of tutorial based videos where I'm kind of covering more of the things that I use in more detail. So so now we're on to the foam. I figured it's a good place to start, and this is it. It's called Foamular 150, and basically it's an insulation foam that's for houses. It's what goes on the outside of a house, and I get the 1 inch thickness, and it's by, I think it's 8 feet by or 4 feet by 8 feet in size. So it's really big sheets, and I think you can get it in also like 4 foot by 4 foot too. But usually I buy the big sheets, and I'll buy like a pallet of it because you can get it for a lot cheaper. So I think if you just go and pick it up at your local hardware store, it's about $8 to $12 a sheet, depending on what thickness you get. and they even go, you know, thicker than the 1 inch to I think all the way up to 4 inches, but you have to special order anything, you know, over 1 inch. I think the 2 inch to 4 inch are special order. And personally, I like the 1 inch better. It gives a little bit more flexibility on what you want to do. Plus, it's slightly flexible, but not too much. I mean, it's pretty rigid foam, and it's pretty easy to work with. So the density is pretty good. It's easy to sand and kind of build your whatever you're going to build with out of. It's pretty easy to cut. I don't know. I had a razor blade somewhere, but I guess I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you know, just cutting it. Let's see. You know, it's pretty simple. So it breaks and cuts pretty easy. You just kind of score it with a razor blade, and then you can cut off, you know, little slivers or whatever. I usually have a big giant a big giant knife that you'll actually see in the videos, and it's just some old, you know, U.S. cutlery knife that is just like razor sharp, and I use that to kind of sculpt and shave down all the general shape of everything before I start fine tuning the design. So so that's basically it on the foam. It's pretty simple to get. It is a polystyrene type foam, and it will melt with just about anything. So no matter what kind of glue you use, or you know, fiberglass resin, paint, acetone, lacquer thinner, alcohol, it doesn't matter, it's going to melt it. So there's a real trick to keeping it from melting when you need to finally lay the fiberglass over the top, and that's what I use a silver tape for that you see in the videos. And I do cover this pretty well, I think, in some of the videos. But basically, I'll lay this tape down and just keep covering it with this tape, and it's an aluminum tape that has a film on top, and it makes it easy to lay your fiberglass on, and then you can just peel the whole backing off, so you can remove the foam piece, and you're left with the fiberglass shell that you can then use that to finish working with on your model, basically. So so yeah, so this is pretty good, and you can get this at local hardware stores. You can buy it in bulk also. Very handy to use, and it seals very well. It's really like an AC tape for use on air conditioning systems in the house. So it's really meant to seal up really well. But so the other thing is the glue. I buy the cheapest glue I can find. It seems that the more expensive the glue and the better, like the 3M or the headliner type glues, tend to really melt the foam. This one does a pretty good job at not melting or dissolving. It doesn't really melt. I guess it kind of dissolves, as you can see. So that's what happens when you put too much in one spot. So this, you can see, it didn't really dissolve any of it. Those are just dents, but there's no dissolving. And it's nice because you can kind of put it together and it holds it, and just enough really for you to do whatever you need to do with it, if that makes sense. So, you know, what I did was basically I would take the foam pieces and I would glue them one side at a time. So I would glue this side, and I let it sit for, you know, 30 seconds to a minute, or if it's like 112 degrees outside like it usually is here in Texas, then, you know, it can just be right after you spray it, basically. Then you stick it on, and it stays tacky, and it'll stay tacky for a long time. So it's pretty solid. Then I would take this and I would insert it into the forms that I cut out for the body shape. So in the previous videos, you'll see that I have all these wooden forms in place, and then I add this in between it, and that works really well. Now, if your project's going to take a long time, like mine has, this glue does start to degrade and dry out, and it doesn't really stick anymore. So if you have areas that are not really being held by the wood forms, so in other words, if they're not being, you know, held in place on two sides, and you have a piece that's just kind of sticking out, then I use another glue that's a wood glue. So I use that, as you can see, and I'll use the wood glue, and it really holds well. But you don't want to glue out too close to the edges of where you think you're going to sand. So if you're going to sand this area and you have wood glue all the way up to the edges, what will happen is if you're using a body file or something like this to sand, this will catch that glue and just start ripping and not really making a smooth area for you to sand on. So a little trick for that is I use I don't know, this is like a fluid. What is this? I think this is like a flavor injector for like turkeys and chicken and meat and stuff. So you would fill it up, and it's basically a giant needle, and it has 2 holes on each side, and you put your flavor inside, which in this case would be the glue, and you then stick this in between. So say this is a part that's sticking out and it's not really being held, you would stick it in between all the way down, and then you would inject a little bit of glue, and then you would just kind of go down through the whole seam, and you would end up injecting glue about 3 to 4 inches down into the foam. And the nice thing about that is that now your glue is here, and you can sand all the way down to that area without having it snag or catch, and you end up with a nice finish on the foam. So that's pretty much it. I mean, really just getting it glued with cheap glue. You want to spray real light coats, kind of a far distance from the foam. Otherwise, if you pile it up, it will start to melt. So you put a concentrated spot there, it will eat a nice giant hole in that area, and I can already see it bubbling and starting to dissolve that area. But then you need a nice body file. This one I've been using on a car, but you can really sand down your areas, so it works pretty good. This one's not as sharp and it's clogged, so it's not doing as good of a job as normally it would. But as you can see, you can still see that hole dissolving away. Also, you can use a regular sander with this stuff, and it does a really good job. So, making a mess now. So now you can see it's really nice and smooth there. You can use a finer grit. This is a pretty tough grit that I have on it right now, but yeah, it makes it really easy to sand with a block. Like a block like that. And then you can shape your piece, and you're going to town with it. So that's pretty much the main techniques and little tricks with this type of foam. If you have money and you can buy foam in giant blocks and go and have it CNC'd, then that's great. But either way, I like working with this. Well, it's pretty easy to to modify and change. If you mess up with a section, something that I had to do a lot is that I would sand an area down. I was like, dang, I did that wrong or whatever. Well, you can just come in. Oh, I need a sharper blade. So you can come in, and then you can, I did that So then you can come in and do a patch job. So I would have this little piece, and you can come in like this, basically, you know, re-glue that down, and then now you have a patch job piece that you could insert into the foam and do your thing with it. So let's see. So anyway, so that's just, I'm kind of going, you know, that's not very clean, but but you get the idea. So basically, you know, when you have, if you had a huge giant block, it's a little harder to cut everything out, and it's just more difficult. I've kind of gone through both methods, and I really end up liking the just this type of phone, period. Usually the real giant blocks are super expensive, and they are sometimes, when you go to sand them, they're a little too easy to sand. They're still pretty dense, but they're I don't know how to explain it. The cell structure of the material is different. This is pretty small cell structure, and so it sands, and it's really easy to smooth. So so yeah, look for that at your local hardware stores. But yeah, I don't know where to tell people that are outside of the US to get this stuff. I assume that they probably have this, but I don't know, because I do get a lot of emails from people that are in other countries and stuff, and I have no idea if they have Home Depots and Lowe's and places like that over there, but I'm sure they have hardware places where they can get this kind of foam, you know. So there you go. This video is getting kind of long, so I'll go ahead and close it up, and I'll try to cover, I think in one of my next videos, some of the lasers for the Gantry system, because I get a lot of questions on just the Gantry in general, but a lot of people have no idea about the lasers and how I get it to make it into a long beam. And really it's all about what I'm buying, not really what I'm doing. So anyway, that's it, and hopefully I'll get another video out soon for you guys, and I'll see you next time. Forgot to tell you that I set up a new website called cardesignersandbuilders.com, and it's a site for people to go to and get information and share information about their designs and their cars, and and what they're building, and also to get tips and tricks and techniques and all those things for how to build cars. So it's for, you know, amateurs, new people, professionals, whoever wants to come and you know, contribute to the forum. But I think it's a good place for me to share the information that I've, you know, kind of gained through this whole process, and to also learn from other people and what others are doing as well. So go check out the site. I'll put the link in the bar below the video, whatever you want to call that, and check it out. Let me know if you have any problems with it, then let me know that too. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.